I'm doing great. How are you?
Very good, very good. I may have a little bit more of a New York accent, as you can probably tell. I came back from New York. It always is a little thicker there, but I missed our conversations. I am excited to have a conversation today. I'm drinking my cacao out of my peacock. Ooh, I have my peacock over there. Look at that.
Yes,
Look at
and
that.
interestingly, one of the things I want to talk about was I want to talk about your weekend. I want to talk about my weekend, and then of course I want to talk about the topic at hand.
Yes.
But I got a new mug, and I was gonna use it today, and I
Oh,
forgot it at
you
home, so I'm
got
back with my dragonfly mug. But the thing that made me think about that was on Saturday, I
Mm-hmm.
did a sacred remembering ceremony, and I will try and remember to put the link to like what exactly that is for those
Yes,
that are
it,
wondering.
it's
But
fantastic.
your peacock mug made me think about it because the woman that I was doing this for, peacocks are her thing, and so she got a peacock blanket and a peacock
Nice.
mug and all the peacock things, and
Nice.
so
Yeah,
um
you do a great job.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's a beautiful ceremony. I got to give you accolades because you nail it with all the details that really makes it special for the person that you're honoring. And I love that. Like you're talking about all the peacocks. I can imagine what you did and how you shopped for all of this. I mean, it's such a special time, and you put together a beautiful space and the way it looks, the way it flows, and the energy. And I saw some of the pictures on social media, so it looked like you had a nice crew too, nice group.
it was an amazing crew, and um I mean, I haven't connected with everybody post, but I have, like, the woman that we were honoring this morning. She leads a networking group that I'm a part of, and we had our meeting this morning, and so
Nice,
um it was spoken about a lot this morning, and like,
nice.
it's not, it doesn't impact just the person who we're honoring in that ceremony,
Hmm.
but every person in that room um really walks away shifted
Oh yes,
in a good way.
oh yes, oh yes.
Yeah.
It's one of
So how
those. It's one of those. I'm just gonna plug our show for today. It's one of those times where I feel truly alive.
yes. No, I was gonna dive into deeper when we get there.
Yeah.
But how was New York?
Oh, it was fantastic. I got to see my sisters, my son, who was on stage doing his thing and his element. I was so happy. See all his friends there. My sisters came in, and my brother-in-law came in to see him. But what talk about being alive again? I mean, that was what I was going to say on the show too about this topic because it's one of those times where I'm sitting listening to live music and watching him up on stage do his thing with his band, and it's just the exuberance, the energy, it fills me up from head to toe. It just fills me up. So I had that was like the highlight, and then we did go to Fire Island, another highlight with my sister and their family. My brother-in-law has a boat, so we took it over and did a little beach day, and I got to see my nephews. So it was a beautiful family time. It really was the whole thing. I was telling you earlier before we got on. I'm gonna be out there with this. I feel like an old lady. Oh my goodness, the the trekking because the city is you got to move. You move fast. You walk. You go upstairs, subway, trains, on and off. It's just a lot of exercise. So I was feeling it. And I'm like, son, slow down. The old lady's feeling it. So, but the city was alive. It was wonderful. Yeah. So
Yay.
yeah.
Well, we're
Yay.
glad you're back.
Yes.
So yes, our topic today is, when was the last time you felt truly alive?
Yes.
And I think I think we're at the stage in the game, and we've done enough that we really connect to that feeling a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know that I definitely do, much more so than I have in the past.
Oh yeah.
Um, But I think this is important, just, based on all the conversations that I have with all the people.
Right.
When we ask a question like this, like some people's answer will be, we've talked about this on the show, like
Yeah.
skydiving. Oh, I felt alive.
Yes.
And I have one of my clients, he goes heliboarding, like go up, take a helicopter, take you to a mountain that nobody should be able to get to the top of, and then
Right.
jump out of it with your snowboard and,
Right.
like, oh, I feel alive. And I'm
Right.
like, I think in that situation, I would feel like I was plummeting to my death.
It's all
But
relative. It's all relative.
yeah, but somewhere in, you know, and I feel like this goes back to like sitting on the porch. Like I used to feel alive sitting on a porch,
Mm-hmm.
but modern society has us so, like, our nervous system so hyped up that
Mm-hmm.
people don't feel alive unless they're doing something extreme.
Mm-hmm. With an
And
adrenaline rush. It's the adrenaline.
yes, and it's
Oh,
burning everybody out.
yes.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's always, how do I top that? How do I top this? How do I top
Yep.
that?
Yep.
And that's not what feeling alive is about.
No. I agree with you. I agree with you. And I'm going to say, all right, full disclosure, I'm one of those adrenaline junkies from time to time because me and my daughter do some of these extreme things on our birthdays. It's like, okay, what are we going to do for our birthdays? So on Sunday, I'm going jet skiing because we're taking mom, and that's going to be our activity. But I like to do things with people I love. That is what makes me feel alive. Hi, Tina.
I haven't seen you in a while, so I'm glad you're on.
Yes, welcome, welcome. Um, but so I do love those on a special occasion, but it's not the only time that I feel alive. And I ask myself the question, and I ask the viewers out there, and I'll ask you, it's like, okay, what are the aliveness clues? When am I feeling alive? So it's the energy, it's the curiosity, it's the laughter, it's the presence, it's the creativity, maybe the desire or the feeling, right? And then, and sometimes like, did I feel alive then, back then when I did this thing? Because I just revisited dancing. Okay. When I get on my feet and I start to dance and feel the music, I'm like, man, this is what makes me feel alive. And then it was funny because I was with my sisters. I said, this would be great exercise. All I have to do is dance in my living room, put on some disco music, and cut a rug for an hour. And there goes my exercise. And I'm like, why don't I do this more often? So, I think that, like to your point, it doesn't have to be that adrenaline rush because there's so many moments in life just to be present and feel alive. Even some of the sadness and the grief moments, I still feel alive in those moments. I'm not checked out. So I think it's been all along being or becoming present. That was my key to this. What about you?
Absolutely. I was like, you hit the nail on the head when you said presence, because I think um a in this modernization and everything, like there's constantly thing after thing after thing, like competing for our attention.
Oh yeah,
And if life isn't moving fast enough, like let me pick up my phone, let me see, um
so true.
what can I do to stimulate myself.
Correct.
And I think people are replacing feeling alive with feeling stimulated.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes, yes, true.
whereas if we slow down and be fully present, so like New York, I think New York can make anybody feel alive. But
Yes.
it is a little bit of an adrenaline rush.
Yep.
But for me, this weekend in this ceremony, a lot of it was really, we were sitting in a circle with calm music playing and drinking cacao. And,
Oh.
it was a very calm and quiet moment. But the beauty to me was nobody was picking up their phone. I mean, I
Oh.
did ask, like, as you see, there are photos, and I just made the request, like, you know, if you see a moment, if you feel called, like, please, yes, take some pictures, take some videos, so that we have those to share with the woman that we were honoring. Um, and I was also like, I was a little bit like, oh, I wish there were a few more photos. But there was also the piece of me that was like, this is so beautiful that everybody was so connected in that moment
There's the
that
key.
they didn't feel the need to pick up
Yes.
their phone.
Oh, I love that.
And for
That's
me, being able to create those spaces for people to be in, like that makes me feel alive. And hearing what that space did for the women that were present there, and one man, we had our first man at one of these ceremonies.
yay.
And but like walking away from that made me feel so alive.
Oh,
And
that's wonderful.
um I think for anybody, like that is a good indicator of, am I feeling alive or not? Like, do I feel like I need to create other stimulation, or can I allow myself to be fully connected in this moment?
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad that you said that because, and you hit the nail on the head with connectedness and heart space and and being in the moment present, because I have to say, after all these years, so I've known Julietta for a long time, everyone. And when she started Body and Soul Ministries and started doing all these sacred ceremonies, it really, that was one of my alive points. I couldn't wait to get to that part of the week or month, whatever she was doing. And I realized the quietness, the connectedness of that time is the most profound way to experience aliveness. That is my, I think, if I were going to mark really truly what brings me alive, is connection, is in the heart space. Because to me, having a full calendar and having a full heart are two different things. You know, I don't have to book my calendar. And I know some people are like this. Okay, what are they doing every night of the week or all weekend long have to book 3 or 4 things in a Saturday or Sunday? That is not being alive to me, because you can go chasing after all these things to do, but are you really there? Or are you thinking about, well, what's the next thing I'm going to do to fill the space? And that's not it. That's
I
not
think a
it.
lot of times it's escaping.
It is.
There,
Exactly. So, and I was just going to get to that. It's like, okay, what are we doing? We're escaping. We're disappearing from yourself, from your own life, because maybe you have a lot of responsibilities, right? And you're trying to escape those for a little while, and you're filling the space to say, oh, I can go do this, and so I don't have to do my responsibility. But what are you creating? You're postponing your life one, little responsibility at a time. So, I, I'm feeling, I'm picking up what you're throwing down. That old adage.
yes. Um, so I think also like we get so in the rut of achieving and success
Mm-hmm.
and using that as the gauge of um am I alive, like what have I achieved, what have I, and I hear it over and over and over again. um Especially people our age, a little bit younger, a little bit older than us, like I did all the things that I thought were expected of me,
Yeah.
and here I am with, I've done all, checked all the boxes,
Mm-hmm.
and something's still missing.
Yes.
And that missingness is the aliveness, all the things you missed because you were so busy checking boxes
Yeah.
and creating, succeeding. But is that really success?
Right. Right. For those of you out there that are feeling that way, I mean, because we've kind of come full circle, and I've had my busy moments, and especially, raising kids and working and doing all the things I have to do and be responsible for. I kind of put myself on the back burner sometimes. And that's another point to people who, are responsible for so many. What are you doing? Is this selfless act that you feel that this is what you need to do? And how much of yourself is being put aside and not taken care of and not attended to, and then all of a sudden you've created this life about taking care of everybody else that you really lost yourself and your aliveness. So I think, just to throw out there, what does make you feel alive, and check in with some other things than just busyness. Like, is it creativity? Is it relationship? Is it spirituality? Is it adventure? Is it service to other human beings? Is it sensuality? I have some lists in my head that I feel that bring me alive. And I had to really truly think about this when we were preparing for the show, because, I immediately zipped to New York and some skydiving, but that's not my everyday life, and I want to have that aliveness every day. So I think this is a good conversation to bring people in to think about these things. It's like, where in your life could you make some space to be present and think about the things that make you truly alive every day, you know?
I- I'll even just so simplicity, like sipping my cacao every day.
Yeah.
It's so funny because on Wednesdays I wait until 4 o'clock to have my cup of cacao. And
Yeah.
it's interesting to me how much I find myself sitting there, like just waiting for that moment. And yes, I could have one earlier, but
Mm-hmm.
too much of a good thing is not a good thing. And so um but every day, like that time that I spend with my
Mm-hmm.
cacao, like I do feel alive. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the simplest thing there is. And I'm by myself. Well, usually it's me, my cacao, and my journal sitting together. And it
Yeah.
is a really alive moment in almost nothingness, And but also going to, you know, can you feel alive while you're cooking a meal? Or better yet, can you feel alive when you're washing the dishes, cleaning up after that meal? Can you find aliveness in the mundane activities of every
Yeah.
day?
I like that. I like that. Yeah, we do so many of that, don't we? We do. I mean, we have to do so much of that, I should say. That mundane, that thing that, and how many of us, because I'm guilty of this, how many of us check out of that mundane task? We are totally somewhere else. I mean, I have, and my partner, we both have done. Did we do that? I don't remember. It's like you do it every day, so you weren't even present in the moment you were doing it that day. So it was like, did I do that? Like, lock the door, back door before you go to bed, set the coffee at night. We do that every single night. So we check out in those moments because you're thinking about something else that is just a mundane thing that you're on autopilot to do. So we laugh at that because we go upstairs. We're like, did we do that? Did you do it? I can't remember if I did it. Was that yesterday? I don't know. But that's getting old, right? But anyway, um, but being present in the mundane, and I feel like the more and more, or maybe it's the older we get too, but being present and being grateful for all of the senses we have. When you feel, when you smell, like your cacao, you taste
Mm-hmm.
cacao. I was just thinking about that because you're talking about the cacao and all the presence it does bring to you because you're sipping it, you're smelling it, you're bringing it to your heart space. You know it's a heart opener. You're thinking about it, you're journaling about what comes to you. Those are practices, those are beautiful practices that, you know, we can do daily to bring this aliveness, to bring this presence, and to give to ourselves some maybe clarity and focus and, you know, a life that feels that it truly is our own. instead of the
Yeah.
busyness. So,
Um, I do have to put in here just
yeah,
it's a big thing, not a little thing, but I'm a Sagittarius, we're the travelers, and so
yeah.
travel is a part of my life. And I see that we do have Egypt in the house. So they are watching, somebody is watching us in Egypt right now.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
And yeah, but going to Egypt is definitely a space where I feel alive and so
Mm,
I want to say multidimensional because I there's no other words um right now that I can think of that even remotely touch like what
mm,
that is there. And and also realizing like I can experience that anywhere, but
mm,
um but no, people are like, why do you keep going back there?
yeah,
And I laugh because there are other places in the world that I want to visit, but Egypt wakes something up inside of me, and I experience that and I connect to that. So I do find myself repeating that because
yeah,
it lights something up inside of me. And that could be a topic for a whole different episode. But like you have to be present to notice those things. And even in travel, like people will go places just to check off the box that I did this. And
yeah.
and they're so wrapped up in taking the pictures and taking and filming what they and it's like, did you actually even allow yourself to experience it, or were you just checking off the boxes and like you got the pictures to prove that you did it, but did you actually do it? Did you actually be present in that moment, live in that moment? And I think we've so lost. I think back when we were kids, like we didn't have our phones and our as our camera to document every silly little thing that we did. And because cameras had films and film had to be developed, and like you couldn't even tell like did I take a good picture or not, and so you just kind of had to trust and go with the flow. And and then you had to wait. There was no instant gratification. You had to wait so you could get it developed until it was ready, and then you get it back. And um so we spent more time connecting in the moment and being there. And I love photography. I love that photos can help us retain these memories of what we done. But we have to be careful that we don't also allow that to disconnect us from being in the moments and being in the everything of it. I think that's a piece that gets lost too, is with that presence, like not having the full sixth sensory experience of what you're doing.
No, I agree with you. And as you're talking about it, um, I know that and my kids will attest to this too. I'm bad on social media. I'm bad about taking pictures and posting the things that I'm doing, and this is why. Um, I do like to take pictures, right? But to sit there and because I see people do it all the time, not only take the picture, but make that post happen right away to share on social media. And I'm like, you're missing what's in front of you. Breathe it in, take it in, look at every detail, feel it. And I know that energetically, maybe we're a little more practiced than some at feeling, and being with the energy. It's such a subtle thing, and you'll miss it if you don't be still in it, right? So you're trying to, like we do, we try to sense what's going on in the space. That's whatever you want to say, sixth sense to break it down. But there is so many things that come to you if you're just still in the moment. And another thing is, I mean, I can't wait to get to Egypt. I agree with you on the the spots that you have to go back to, and I feel that way about Sedona. We've gone back a couple times, and the energy that we find in that place is, unlike no other that we've been to. So we want to go back, we want to feel it, we want to experience it, we want to sit and meditate in it on a red rock. And it brings so much to us, and that aliveness, although we're so still, that is that's the best energetic, being. It's like you don't even have to be in your body. You're feeling what's not the 3D. I guess I have to say, I have to say it that way. I don't really know how to say it any other way, but the physical presence kind of takes a backdrop, maybe, right? And just like Egypt, it's like you're looking for that energy, you're looking for that download, maybe you're looking for that message, or you're feeling, just being in the space and feeling the wind on your face, looking or feeling the trees around you. So nature is a huge aliveness point for me, and I know that's true for you. Yeah.
Yes, even earlier, I actually thought about trying to film out there, but then I was getting a little too damp. But like, while I don't like being hot, I also struggle with AC. Like, it's uncomfortable to me. And
Mm-hmm.
so went outside. There's water fountains outside my office. And I just went and sat out there for a little while and just noticing the lizards and the flies and listening to the birds and the frogs and just all of the sounds that were out there. And it was just, I'm thinking, here I am, like basically
Yeah.
downtown Fort Lauderdale, like
Mm-hmm.
right in the center of the city. And to still be able to have that experience of, Mother Nature
Yes.
making her presence known, like she can't not exist. And it was really nice until all of a sudden I was like, I'm feeling a little too sweaty, going back inside. But the other thing we haven't touched on too much yet is also like the people surrounding you.
Mm.
um I think, and this is a topic I've had with, it happens regularly in my one-on-one sessions with my clients. That
Mm.
also happens, out in public having conversations. The people surrounding you, like, do you feel alive when you're with your people?
Yes.
And if you don't, that's potentially an indication that those aren't your people. Like, um, I don't know, when I'm around people that I want to be around,
Yep.
I
Yep.
feel lit up.
Yep.
And then when I'm around people that are not on the same wavelength as me,
Mm.
it's hard.
Hard. It's hard. We've had this.
I guess when you're energetically sensitive,
Yeah.
it's a different layer of that. But I hear people all the time, like, trying to be who they have to be to fit in with these people that they don't fit in with. And like, if you're trying to be who you're not, like, that's not truly living. That's masking, pretending.
Yes.
And what is the point of that?
You're right. Authenticity. I mean, you're getting to that point. It's like, we feel the energy and connection. We have our tribe, and it's true. I feel really alive when I am in that community because I know when I'm in your space, you're present. I can feel your energy. We have a good energy exchange, spectacular energy exchange with a lot of our community because they're there, they're in the moment, they're present, they're not on their phone, they're not just wanting to, you know, you know, just say what they not need to say and then they check out and they're not listening. They're engaged and actually, when you set your energy and intention and engagement on another person or in a group, it elevates the energy of that group, right? So you feel it, and And the best way I could explain it is that, you know, the focus and the energy of the group, and we often sit in a circle, so it kind of magnifies it to the center, and sometimes we have an altar in the center, right? Um, but those types of situations, it magnifies the experience and the energy and the aliveness in the individual. It's very different, and it doesn't always have to be in a ceremony, because we can be across having dinner, but we're engaged, right? But when you're not with your people, or you're having to do something, maybe you have to have a meeting or business dinner, or work in some sort of way, like I teach, you know, and that's not always gratifying and alive for me. It's because, okay, I've got to teach a certain subject, but who's checked out, who's not paying attention, who's on their phone, you know, and even if I'm having a conversation, if the person is not engaged and energetically focused on what I'm trying to say, you know, and they're gone, you feel it. You're feeling it, and it's hard. It is hard, and everybody is not on the same page. Absolutely not. Everybody isn't. It just is what it is. So it's like, all right, I want to limit those times that I have to be with those folks who are just not there yet. And you know, they're on a different path. They're learning about themselves. They've got, you know, there's no judgment here. It's like they're going about their business, experiencing what they need to, you know, and finding their way. And everybody's finding their way in a different speed and a different time and a different place. And that's okay. It's okay. So, you know, we lend ourselves to those times when we need to, but we also kind of choose wisely, you know, and with discernment about who we're really going to focus our energy with and to, because it makes a big difference when you have the engagement and the flow between the person. I mean, and I've discussed this with my partner about, you know, gatherings and parties. How many times have you been to a gathering where you're talking to the person and they're just telling you all about themselves and la 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 la, and they're off here and off there, and they ask you nothing about you, right? They're not engaged in that space, in that conversation, in that exchange. So it's like those tend to kind of fall away for a couple of minutes. It's all like, you know, we could do, because when you got to keep up the energy in in the conversation, it's kind of exhausting, right? So, I mean, practicing being engaged with the people that kind of flow with you and reciprocate, I think, is a big deal. As you get older, you get a little bit better at that. Does that make sense?
Hopefully we get better at it. I just want to talk about like aliveness is a choice.
It is a choice.
Um, I and I upset people by saying these things at times because it's easy to play victim to circumstance. And the truth is, we always have some level of choice. Um, Even when we think we don't, we do. And um, maybe you don't have a choice in everything that you get to do,
Mm-hmm.
but you have a choice how you show up in that moment.
That's right.
And I think sometimes it's it's easy to get caught up in what you don't like, in what's negative, in what's not working.
Mm-hmm.
And but in that same moment, there can be good things and happiness, and but when you're not present, you can't even see it. Or when you're stuck in that victim mode, like things have to be this certain way for me to feel this way, you're giving all your power away. And it really takes presence to to take yourself out of this whatever negative stance that you're in. But there's always a way out of that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's choice.
It is.
And because we all get to do things that we don't necessarily love to do.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke earlier about the mundane, and I can struggle through that and feel tortured through the whole time that I'm doing it, or I can shift my point of view and find aliveness in that moment.
I love that.
It is a choice.
It is a choice. And thank you for saying that. It goes back to co-creation. And as I was speaking about the people that are checked out sometimes that I have to be with, it's oftentimes that I will, when I have the energy, take a little bit more responsibility in creating something different. And I mean, even with my job, and I know you've heard me at times say, "Ugh, you know, maybe it's time to go, maybe it's time to do something else." Okay. But I started to show up differently at my job, authentically more me. And I realized how much I can create, how much I can control in the way I express something. Because when you give the space the energy that it deserves, oftentimes people will respond in the same energy. So you get to co-create some of that different energy exchange. And sometimes people are, I've been many times at work, especially, it's like people will just look at me for a moment and go, wow, I didn't realize, you could see the change in them that they haven't experienced that level of energy exchange, for lack of a better term, because this is the first time I'm putting words to this as we're talking about it. But but I see it. It's like, okay, if I want something to change, I get to create something different in this experience, because we only have responsibility here, right in there, yourself. So if you want to change something, change yourself. You want to change an experience, change yourself. You want to change it, exchange differently, change it. You have the choice. So I love that you said it's a choice. It's a choice. And everybody, and I don't meet too many of the victims these days, but you do meet the victims from time to time. And, how do you deal with it? you know and we do bring a little bit of maybe exposure to this scenario of living authentically, co-creating, all these things that we talk about, because we want everybody to step up, for lack of a better word. Because why are we doing this? It's, come on, guys, consciousness has to go this way. We're not swirling down the toilet here. So, we want everybody to be on the same page, take responsibility, engage, energetically shift, be that better human. Don't live in negativity all the time, looking for negativity, experiencing negativity. Woe's me. Waiting for the knight in shining armor. I can go on and on, But, I mean, so go ahead. I'll stop talking.
No, I just, I like, this is, I think, one of the most powerful tools when you are in that space of trying to grow and expand. Um, but the world is your reflection. And
Yes.
so if you don't like what you're seeing out there, it is a reflection of you on some level. And so instead of pointing the finger at the problem out there, you get to look at, what do I need to shift in here
Mm-hmm.
so that what I see out there is reflected in that. And that's, that can be a hard thing to sit with.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, um there have been a lot of times where it's it hurts. It's like, dang. But then I also sit there in the space of thank you. Thank you for showing me,
Mm-hmm.
so I know what needs to be healed, what needs to be um, integrated, balanced, whatever that is.
Yep.
Um, but it's so easy to try and blame others, the situation, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, it's just a reflection. The outside is just a reflection of what's within. And so, when you're ready to put your big girl panties on, like
Yes.
that's the place to start.
It sure is. It sure is. And I love that you said that, and I feel the same way. Obviously, I think relationship is the biggest, an intimate relationship, the biggest mirror for an individual to progress to learn about themselves. It's true, and I mean, some people will say, "Oh, we got to go the psychological route and work on the shadow." But that shadow is going to show up in other people, um, and reflect it back to you. It's the same. It's the same idea, really. Working on that piece of you, even the one that's having the reaction, right? So the person that's having the reaction for what's mirroring to them, your reaction is what you have to look at, right? Your trigger is what you have to look at because you can change that. And in the blame game, and this is what we're talking about, is the victimhood mentality. It's that blame game that doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't. And even if you, you're not adept at this, you haven't tried it out yet, just give it a go. Even when you're in a conversation, something doesn't go right for you, or you're tweaked in a certain way, just don't say anything. Sit with it for a second and see if you can transform it into something that says, why am I reacting this way? Why am I thinking this way? Why am I triggered? Let me not lash out. Let me look at why. What internally is going on with me? So the whole introspective look is needed. It is a big girl panty game. And deal with it, right?
Oh, right?
Oh, we could go on and on. It's fun though. It's a fun conversation. And I love having these conversations. I mean, this is a perfect opportunity for me to say, you are my mirror. Julieta, you are, and I know I am for you. And because we've had these conversations. So, when we get to these really deep, big conversations, I love it because I'm learning about me every day. And every time we do this, I'm getting to explore more in depth topics about how I feel about these things. So it's kind of, chiseling away at who I am, whether you want to say ego or not. But spiritually, it also chisels away because, I mean, that's really the fun talk for me. You know, I constructed my ego, I got through my life. Still getting through my life. Maybe you don't want to let go of some of the ego stuff, but I'm okay with shedding some of that to really look deeply into the spiritual aspects of who I am. And I get to do that with you. So thank you. I'm very grateful.
Thank you for being on this wild and crazy ride with me.
Yeah.
Um, so we're getting here towards the end of our time, and just to put a few tips out there for people, like um, a be more present and notice, like, when is it easy to set the phone down and not pay attention to the phone? When is your mind quiet? Um, when are you happy? I tell people all the time, like, use those things that you value, whether that's happiness, freedom, um, you know, I don't know, but whatever your values are,
Yeah.
like, use that as your compass.
Yes.
And if something makes you feel any of those things that you want to feel, follow that, go that direction and be present with it. But if where you're at is making you feel none of those things, like,
Yeah.
your compass is wrong. Like, it's time to shift and move. And it is important to find your community where you can show up
Mhm.
100% as your authentic self. Like, no need to pretend to be somebody that you're not to try and fit in.
Mhm.
Such a huge powerful lesson. And sometimes I had this conversation earlier this week that, like, if we spent more time, like, in school, teaching these kids these kinds of
Yes.
tools to get through life, so much. I just think of, like, all the wasted
Yeah.
information that served me in no way, shape, or form, that I was forced to learn and memorize. And why there's so much more important stuff out there.
There is
And maybe our educational system will catch up one day.
someday.
And but also witnessing parents on this journey and sharing that. We had, I think she was 14-year-old, the daughter of the woman that we were honoring on Saturday, was present. And when she was given the opportunity to speak, my jaw just dropped. Like, it was unbelievable, the
Wow.
maturity this young girl had. And um like, but I know she's there because her mother has
Yeah.
been sharing this work with her since the get-go.
Yeah.
And when you see one teen that can be living in this, like, it shows you, like, they could all be in that space if we just invested the time in sharing these important life lessons that, for so many of us, it wasn't until, later on that we came across it. So we're at a big opportunity here to shift humanity as more and more people are waking up, and we get
Oh
to
yeah.
spread this through all of the systems.
Yes, we do. I love that. I love that. Ah, I think that's a wrap, my friend. I think
It is. And so, if you're looking for support in any of the things that we're talking about, please reach out. We have lots of opportunities. We have in-person opportunities. If you're not local to us in the Fort Lauderdale area, we've got online stuff and many opportunities to engage. We would love to hear from you. And I think that is all we got for today.
sounds
So I want to wish everybody a magical day.